Hello, and welcome back to Tier List Tuesday. Today I have actually a couple of tier lists, more than one. I don't really know how long this is gonna take, but I picked a few. Hopefully it doesn't take me an hour. I know my Vampire Survivors one, I did like 3 tier lists, and that took a decent amount of time. I'm usually pretty wordy, but we'll see. Anyways. This first one is going to be a school subjects tier list maker. So this one's, going to be kind of school subject focused. Hopefully it doesn't bring back any bad memories for some of y'all. Let me also turn the music up. It's really quiet for some reason. I don't want it to be too loud, I guess, but I can barely even hear it. So yeah, I got some dark academia classical music because, I don't know, academia, academy. I don't know, I looked up school music and this was one of the top results. Okay, so this is made by High 32884248. Alright. I think I'm just gonna rank these based on like how cool I think they were to me. But I'm not gonna lie, I actually don't mind learning, and I didn't really mind school. So I'm looking at a lot of these subjects, and these aren't really like the bad subjects. So here we go. Chemistry. Chemistry's cool. I like chemistry. I don't know. It was just like the sciences are always interesting, right? Because like I don't see a ton of them on here, but they're pretty varied. But they also are tied together in some ways by like mathematics a lot of the time. So like. In particular, chemistry and physics have a lot of math. Physics more so, of course. But, chemistry is really cool, just learning about how, like, it all works. Chemistry and physics in particular, like they're the big sciences, I think, where you look at them and you're like, yeah, those are nice sciences, right? They kind of teach you about, like, the underlying elements and fundamental forces of the world. And it's cool, and you get to do experiments, right? Chemistry, you get to mix things together and weird crap happens. Physics, you like bang rocks together and it's cool. I don't know. Anyways, I like them. They're cool. Art. I haven't taken too many art classes. I'll go ahead and put it at C. I don't mind art classes, but like it's one of those things where, when you're a kid, whatever, you just like do whatever in your art class. As you get older, you actually like have expectations for how well you do in your art classes. So if you're like trash, then like it's kind of rough. Like I ended up taking a drawing course in high school, and it wasn't the worst experience ever, but it was not like, it wasn't easy, obviously. And it was like, I actually had to try hard enough to not suck. But I don't know, art's cool. It's cool to look at, I guess. We didn't do any painting. It was only, I think it was a drawing class. So, anyways, lots of different types of art, but I think it's just not for me taking those classes. Biology. There's a point in time I thought biology was really cool. And I thought about like, what if I was a biologist? Because it was like animals. But then I realized biology is kind of boring. I'm gonna put it in C. I actually had like a good biology teacher, but it just over time I realized like this is kind of just boring. I think microbiology is okay because it deals with like bacteria, but in general biology is just like learning about organs and body systems and like homeostasis and whatnot. It's like I don't care about that. I care about animals and that's it. Foreign language. Foreign language, I'm going to put it a B. I don't mind foreign language classes, but I think it depends on A, the language that you're taking, and B, the like teacher that you have for that language. I think it can, teachers, like what teacher you have affects a lot of things, obviously, with relation to like education and learning. Having a good teacher or mentor figure or whatever really helps, but I think in foreign language in particular, it matters a lot more. Whether they're making the class engaging or just like, learning vocabulary or whatever. It's a mixed bag. History, I like history. I think history is really interesting, but over time I've come to realize that there's also a lot of boring history, and it's not always fun to learn. Sometimes it's like, all right, like those things happened, I guess, and now we have to remember that those things happened like 1,000 years ago, and like when they happen in relation to each other. But in general, I like learning about history. I think it's interesting to, you know, see or hear, see, learn, read things about what happened a long time ago and how we got to where we are now. Financial literacy. I mean, it's arguably the most important class of all of them, and yet I think it's probably like the least entertaining. We had a financial literacy course, I think it was called personal finance at my high school, and I remembered nothing from it. So if that tells you anything, um, well, I shouldn't say I remembered nothing. I remembered some core concepts, but nothing substantial enough to really be relevant. Um, you know, important course, but boring, and I don't care about it. Writing, language arts. So this, I think, in general, is just like, you know, literature or language or writing, English type classes. I say English because I'm an English speaker, but you know, whatever language you are learning in your country that's your native, normal, main, you get the idea. This one's tough. This one's tough. I'm gonna give it a C. I don't dislike English or literature, writing, whatever. It's such a broad subject. I don't dislike those courses, but I think in general, literature is really hit or miss because a lot of the time it's like so much reading, and writing courses are also hit or miss because it's like so much writing and so much research. I just don't feel like doing that. I took like a poetry class at my university. That was fun because it was just like reading like this short poem a little bit and like kind of interpreting it. And I thought that was kind of interesting, and then we wrote like an essay. I don't mind writing. I actually don't mind writing essays, which I know is a big thing for other people, but I don't mind it because I kind of like am able to get my thoughts out and put it on, you know, paper and like express myself, I guess, in a way. But yeah, reading like 60 pages or something in 2 days, I just don't feel like doing that. It's not even that much, I know, but I just like, I don't know. It's just hard for me. It's hard for me to like focus while reading unless I'm like really, really, really focused on it. Like I can read wiki pages all day, but sitting down and reading a book is difficult. I don't know why. Math. 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 I'm gonna put math A. Math is another one of those subjects that's so varied, it's pretty hard to quantify where it should be on here, but I like doing math. I mean, you know, we're gonna see where I put physics later and like with chemistry. I mean, I understand, you know, a lot of people don't like math because they maybe struggle with it or their teachers were bad or they just don't see the point in it. But in general, I'm one of those people that like solving problems. I like puzzle games. And in a lot of ways, math and physics and chemistry, they're kind of like puzzles. And so I'm able to like translate that into my school subjects. It's a nice trick for how to not get bored in school, is just think that you're doing something fun. Music. Music's cool. I'll put it an A. I've learned to play a few instruments throughout my life. In elementary school, we learned how to play violin. In middle school, I learned to play the flute, and in high school, the university, I learned to play the piano a little bit. I'm not particularly good at any of them. In fact, I couldn't play violin at all now. But yeah, I think music's cool. You know, it's a nice creative outlet. It's fun to just like be able to play a piece of music and like finish it and feel like I played that well. It's just a nice feeling. And so. Yeah, I mean, music, you know, it's pretty rare to find people who don't listen to music, right? So I think if you ask them, like, would you like to be able to play that music that you listen to? Most people would probably say, like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Whereas if you were like, would you like to be able to make those chemicals that make up your soda? It's like, no, I don't care. Physics. I'm just gonna do it. I'll put it in A plus. I guess A plus is because like school. Anyways, um, yeah, physics is cool. It's like the best of both worlds, science and math. It combines math with like practical-ish purposes and like realistic examples and like, oh, like this is actually happening in the real world and I can see how it's happening, right? I think physics experiments are less interesting than chemistry experiments, but they are more practical in that it's like, this is actually something that I can see like with my eyes and it's like real in the real world. I mean, chemistry, you do that too, but it's like, all these chemicals, like nobody knows what these chemicals are. It's like you're creating, dinitrogen. I don't know. Mutagen. Anyways, physics is cool. I like it. Social studies. I'll put social studies next to like literature writing classes. The thing with social studies is, again, it's a very broad subject. I'm glad that they, split science up into like biology, chemistry, physics, but then they put, social studies and English class all together and math. Oh, never mind. They separated geometry. Whatever. Social studies, it can be cool. It can be fun to learn things. It's similar to history. History and social studies are pretty related, but in general, there's so many social studies. Like I took a sociology course at university. That's a social studies course. Anthropologies, social studies course, psychology. I don't know. There's just so many. Some of them are interesting. Some of them are not. That's all I got. Technology. It's like an F. Who cares about a technology course? Like, I don't know. I'm not like 50 years old, right? Like I know how to use technology. Why would I want to take a technology course? Like I took typing classes and like computer classes. Like, I don't care. I mean, some of those lessons were like very, very, very vaguely relevant. And like I remember them. Not really. I don't remember them consciously, maybe subconsciously, but it's like, who cares? It's a technology course, right? I know how to use a computer. I'm good. Woodworking? Meh. I'll put it in D. I took like one course that was somewhat woodworking. It was more like, I don't know, like we designed some shapes on like a computer program and then we like made a car in the wood shop and that was the course. And it was chill, but it was like, I can only do this for so long, right? Like if I had to do woodworking for like 6 months, like no, I'm out. Geometry, borderline F territory. Geometry is one of the worst subjects of all time. A lot of geometric principles are super important and useful in like math and physics, but like geometry just by itself is so boring. It's terrible. Maybe I'm just traumatized from my course offering. Physical education. If I was in elementary school, I'd probably put an A because you get to like run around. As you get older, they just talk more and more about like, here's how to eat well and here's how to stretch and exercise and like, it combines with like health courses and like, I don't really care. Like physical education just becomes more and more of like, all right, you should exercise. It's like, cool, thanks. Anyways, here we go. This is my tier list. Only 1 A plus, 1 F, quite a few C's. It's almost a bell curve, right? So pretty on point here with how school works or is supposed to work. Maybe not really. I mean, it shouldn't work like that. It should be everyone gets an A plus, but okay. Moving on. I've got 2 more tier lists. Spoiler alert. Hopefully I don't take as long on these. Math degree tier list maker. This is by Shane Humison. So some of these are going to be pretty similar. So physics, S. Physics degree. I'm going to base it, instead of doing like how cool I think it is, I'm going to do it like how practical I think it is and like how useful I think it is. So physics is probably more like B. Like, how many jobs can you really get just being a physicist? Like, you have to work in a lab. If you're not working in a lab, you don't have a job, right? So I think physics is probably like a B. Math is like even lower than physics, right? It's like your only use is as like a math teacher, and that's it. Which, ironically enough, we have math teacher over here. So I'm going to put them together because they're basically the same thing. If you have a degree in math, you're not doing anything with your life other than teaching math and then like doing study, like research in the meantime. That's all that you're doing. They're basically the same thing. Statistics, I think statistics is probably like an A or a B. Well, no, maybe just a statistics degree, I'm not sure. But like, there's quite a few uses for statistics. I'm gonna go ahead and put it B, because I think it's probably not as relevant as some of these other ones, which are deal with statistics, but in more like refined ways. But yeah, statistics, I mean, it's useful, right? It's used in quite a few places, like people care about statistics and analytics and stuff. Actuarial science. I think this is supposed to be like an A. I think this is pretty high up there. I barely know what this is, to be honest. It's like risk and stuff. Like, isn't this the ones where like they analyze whether or not you're gonna die with life insurance to determine whether or not they should give you life insurance? I think you can get a good job there. Engineering, obviously, like S tier, right? Like, engineering is huge. If you have an engineering degree and you're like competent at your job, you're probably gonna get a job, I would have to guess. Economics, I don't know. Who cares about economics? Probably like a C. Like, sure, if you're like a, you know, an investor, but wouldn't you just get like a finance degree or something like economics? If you're studying economics, you're probably a professor as well, or you're like writing a textbook. Who cares? Data science, I don't know. That's probably like a B or an A. It's better than statistics and physics. I guess I'll say that. It's more refined than statistics. You're like actually dealing with actual data in like a controlled manner. So it's probably B. Accounting. Yeah, I mean, accountants have jobs. This is the worst tier list I've ever done. Accountants have jobs, so I imagine having an accounting degree would probably be pretty useful. Oh, here's finance. Yeah, probably A. I don't know. Finance is like a business degree. You just like get it and then you just get like go work somewhere, like do whatever you want, and you end up doing something completely unrelated to your degree, and like it doesn't matter because you have a degree. CS, obviously that's S tier, right? I mean, computer science. You know, personally, no bias here, but I would argue it's above engineering for how good the degree is. I don't know why it has that fake PNG background, but and then UFO degree. Okay, that's my tier list. I don't know. I think this is pretty decent. You could probably make the argument economics, statistics, data science could be higher, but overall, I think this is pretty normal. Math degrees are useless. Low key, I want to put a D, like even below a math teacher, because even if you have a math degree, you're not guaranteed to get a teaching position. But I'll leave it C for the respect. Somebody rated this poo-poo. I agree. Okay. Last but not least, I speed ran that one. Science degree tier list maker. Again, gonna have a little bit of overlap with the school subjects tier list, but so be it. This is by Shane Humison again. I don't know what half of these are supposed to be. The other one, this one had labels on most of them. What are all of these? Okay, well, this one's agriculture. So I think I'm gonna do this on the same rating as the math degree, which is like, you know, likelihood to translate this into some kind of career. I've heard agriculture is pretty unsustainable as far as like finances go. I mean, maybe if you're like in agriculture and then you're like on the business side or like corporate side rather than like actually being a farmer, that could be useful. But I'm just gonna put it here because this looks more along the lines of like agricultural science. Maybe geneticist? Is this like a geneticist? Maybe? It's probably B. You probably have to work in a lab for that one, right? Astronaut? I mean, that's F. Nobody's even going to space right now. Why would you study, like, to be an astronaut? Are there astronauts? I don't think so. There's no astronaut jobs that I am aware of, and at least in the United States. Maybe they have someone like China or something. But yeah, that's obviously an F. And even if there weren't, it's like, how many people become astronauts in the world, right? Like, if you studied to become an astronaut, you failed, and like you just wasted your entire life away. That's very silly. Microbiology. It's along the same vein as like whatever this is. What is this geneticist? Are these all the same? What is this? Food? What is wrong with this tier list? I'm putting all of these in B. Molecular biology? Math? Forestry? Okay, I'm putting all of these in B. Because I don't know, they all look like they deal with the same thing. No, I'm putting this down here with agriculture, that makes sense. I'm putting all these in B. They all look like they deal with like genes and microbiology and like DNA. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but you're going in B. Alright, chemistry, you're going in B. Anything that needs a lab to get a job, you're going in B. Because like, I don't know what the demand is, but I can't imagine it would be particularly high for lab positions. I could be wrong though. Environmental studies, I don't know, are you trying to become a meteorologist? Like you want to be a weather person? Don't do environmental studies unless you just don't want to like work. Like if you don't want to go to school, literally just don't go to school. You don't need to like major in environmental studies. Just don't go to school. Fitness. I'm actually going to put this at the top in A. I don't know if it's A, but this has to have like the highest odds of like getting a job, right? Because you just like be a physical trainer, right? Or like personal trainer, or like a physical therapist or something, right? Like that's got to be what that is. Fitness. Or like sports medicine, something like that. I don't know. It's got to be better than whatever else we've got on here. Forestry? What are you doing? This is better than environmental studies, but like, what are you doing if you're majoring in forestry? Right? You're chopping down trees? You're a lumberjack? You're like agriculture, but less sustainable than agriculture somehow. Because you're going to chop down all of our trees and that's it. We're dead. Thanks, bro. Geologist? I mean, this is worse than working in a lab. Are there labs for geology? Probably. How many are there? Probably like 2. What are you doing? Why are all these science degrees so useless? Are there any useful science degrees? Can you get a job with the science degree? Is it possible? Impossible level difficulty? What is this? Neuroscientist? This has got to be less than all of these. I mean, maybe if you're like a doctor, where's doctor? Is this doctor? This isn't doctor. If doctor was on here, I'd put like A. Isn't there? There's probably like a shortage right now of doctors, right? After COVID. Maybe it's recovered. I don't know. Like neuroscience, that's like really close to being like a neurosurgeon. But I don't see any surgery on here. I just see like, I don't even know if this is supposed to be neuroscience. It's freaking neurons coming out of a dude's brain. It's a meme image. So I don't know. I'm putting it in D because how do you get a job as a neuroscientist? You're like a worse psychologist at this point. You know what? Psychology, I'll go ahead and put that up there as well. Again, it's probably not really an A, but I have to differentiate somehow between these. Like, yeah, you can just become a psychologist, like become a therapist, psychiatrist, whatever. I don't know. Do studies. You can do studies as a psychologist. You can probably get paid for that. It's like working in a lab, but it's easier. Physicists, I'll just put it in B, along with the other lab grade positions. Okay, as we have learned, science is way worse than math, even though the two are related. But yeah, don't get a science degree if you're trying to get a job. Alright, cool. That's gonna be it for me for today's video. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you have a good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. And I hope to see you next time on my next tier list Tuesday, where I'm gonna hopefully have something that is, I don't know, less traumatizing and less confusing than whatever these are. I don't even know what half these degrees are supposed to be. But anyways, hey, I've rambled on for long enough. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm out of here. Peace out.